Shut up, Wesley.
The final frontier.
Hey gang, I'm JP and welcome back to Talking Star Trek Picard. Tonight we're going to talk about episode 3, the beginning. The end is the beginning, and yes, the end of this episode was the beginning of the adventure, you guys. Picard and his new crew, minus one. We still have one more to pick up next week. I'm sure it's going to be great. We'll get, what's his name? Eldor, L4, Hugo Weaving. I can't remember what his name is, but we're going to pick him up next week. We'll see what he's all about, and I'm sure he's all about this, whatever that means. And we also have some Orville stuff to talk about, and I'm very excited about. We're going to find out what you thought about episode 3 of Star Trek Picard. There's a lot of stuff going on in every episode. I have to watch, take notes, really think about stuff, go back and go over every word, because there's so much being packed into these episodes to try and wrap my brain around, which is exactly what I've been trying to do all day. I actually have the review. I just moments ago got it all edited together. I still have to render it, get a thumbnail, and throw it up a little bit after we're done here with our chat. And you'll know exactly, well, you're going to know what I thought anyway, because we're here talking about it. And I'm going to hear your questions. Hopefully I can clarify some things. Maybe you can clarify some stuff for me. And it's definitely connected to Discovery, from what I can tell. Luck Dragon. Guess what, Luck Dragon? We're going back to the Orville sound drops.
There was no equipment malfunction.
Well, you don't have to brag about it.
Luck Dragon, I absolutely loathe disco, but Picard has rekindled my love of Trek that was introduced to me when I was 5 years old, when TNG originally premiered, all the way back in 1987. Luck Dragon. And while I loathe disco in a very fair way, I see little bits and pieces and places they could go that would be better, and hopefully they will someday. They'll never make up for those first 2 seasons. But yeah, I also dislike disco. But yeah, I'm seeing connections between Discovery and Picard. But right now, it's too early for me to know if I'm bothered by that. I'm not someone who's like, oh my God, I see a connection. No! know. It's what happened. How are they going to handle it? How's the story? Is this going to be a connection to Discovery, to a mystery of Discovery, the bad guys that Discovery were going up against, which we never really met? Is Picard going to go up against those bad guys from a different timeline in the future? But it gets handled better. This might be a redemption for the mysterious bad guy. And I don't think it'll ever be a redemption for Discovery itself, but it could be a redemption of the mystery. But we don't know yet. I don't know. It's only episode 3. I have worries. I am worried a little bit that it could go south, but right now I don't see it there. But unlike with the first 2 episodes, I see where it could go wrong. Luck dragon, but I'm still loving Picard. But I am a little bit worried. Rob Crawford.
As I am incapable of stuttering, I must conclude that you heard me.
You heard me, Rob Crawford. I heard you. Yeah, and there was a few things in this episode that were non-Discovery related. That first off, things that were Discovery related with that I was like, oh, that's interesting. Hopefully they do a good job with it. And there was other things in this episode I was like, not necessarily feeling the dialogue in this part, not necessarily feeling this scene, and then other parts where I am liking it. How about Jonathan Del Arco returning as Hugh? That was a bright spot from the episode for me, seeing Jonathan Del Arco. I had no idea. I haven't kept up with Del Arco. I don't know if he's a good actor. We didn't know if he was even a good actor with Hugh, because Hugh's very robotic and stuff like that. So I wasn't really sure. I was like, ooh, the acting was good, but also he was like kind of creepy, a little mysterious. You couldn't tell if he was a good guy or a bad guy, but of course we know he's a good guy. So that even made me like the fact that he's weird and kind of off-putting a little bit. Made me like that even more, because we know he's a good guy. He's just different type of good guy. Absolutely loving it. Rob Crawford again.
Oh my God. Oh God. My God. This is so good. This is unbelievable. That is so good.
So good, Rob Crawford. Thanks again. Hey, JP, any Orville news that are new Orville news? Nothing crazy new, one little thing. I haven't done a video about it yet, but I'm going to. What's his name? Bruce Boxleitner? Bruce Boxleitner? You know, the guy from, I think he was in Tron. Very famous guy. I think I'm saying his name right. If I'm not, correct me in the chat. He is going to be making an appearance in the Orville. Somebody just happened to take an Instagram picture that was having dinner with him, and they said, oh, here's so-and-so that's doing this. Here's so-and-so, and here's Bruce. Just got done shooting the Orville. I'm like, oh, he's a perfect person, the exact type of person that they do cameos of in the Orville. So it looks like he's going to be joining us. Also, we haven't talked about this yet. I put a video out on Sunday. The rumor goes, we had that rumor that Seth MacFarlane is dead set on buying Star Trek, the rights to Star Trek, classic Star Trek, and the rights to do new Star Trek in that format, in the original format. He's not interested in the JJ stuff or any of the Discovery, whatever CBS All Access is doing. He's not interested in any of that. You guys are CBS, you're doing that. You go ahead and keep doing that. We want to do the OG stuff over on NBC. That's the rumor. And then, addition to the rumor, apparently last week, rumor alert, rumor. Don't forget that Seth MacFarlane and NBC sat down with CBS for a sales meeting for Star Trek, which to me means that yes, if it's true, yes, he's interested in buying it. NBC is interested in putting up the money with him. They want Star Trek back. And it means to me that CBS is worried about Star Trek enough to be taking a sales meeting. But apparently, rumor has it, CBS is asking a huge number, because they have confidence now that Picard's being received pretty well. They have confidence in the franchise, so that they want a really big price. I still don't think, no matter how good Picard's going to do, all their Star Trek shows have to do well if it's going to be successful for their streaming service, which I don't think that's possible, no matter how good Picard does, and I think it'll do really well. So apparently they wanted so much for it, which I predicted would happen. If Picard did well, I said they're going to want way too much. They gave a really high price. Seth MacFarlane's like, that is nuts. We're offering you a fair price. So it's supposed to be a 2-hour meeting. Seth MacFarlane, NBC, got up, walked out. Rumor, I have to keep saying rumor, very specific rumor, but that doesn't mean that he's still not going to buy it. That just means CBS is going to go back. So they might lower their bid, especially as, they get drop off with views from Picard. People are loving Picard. Some people are hating Picard. They planned on hating Picard. Some people just planned on maybe giving it a chance and they didn't like it. Doesn't matter, good or bad. People are interested with the first couple episodes. It's a new thing. They want to check it out, right? So they did. So everything that's new gets a big thing of views right when it comes out, and then they drop off. I have no doubt it's going to drop off, no matter how good it is, and that's with any show. And CBS can't handle that. They're writing an entire streaming service that's pricey for what it is on one franchise. That's not going to work. We might as well call it CBS Star Trek Access and get rid of all the other shows if that's what they're going to try to do. So maybe they'll lower their price. Seth and ABC might raise their price. They come back, meet in the middle. Maybe some new numbers will come in where CBS is like, oh, maybe we should sell it. We'll have to wait and see. Now we have another super chat from Dan Crane.
That's what I'm talking about right there on that boom.
JP, Star Trek is back, loving Picard. I am also still very much liking Picard. I don't know if I think I like the first 2 episodes better than this one, and that's just because we had to be introduced to more than that, a few more characters. There's only so much time in an episode, so the show really shines when it's really centered around Picard. But because we had to meet some other characters, the focus pulled away a little bit from Picard, from Patrick Stewart. So just that alone is going to make it a little bit less of a more gooder episode, you guys. But also there was some weird stuff going on in there. I'm loving Raffi, but I don't think it was handled well. Her addiction problem that she has just seemed way like, look at me, I'm addicted to something. So I wasn't really believing it. I really would have preferred it if she was just normal. She drank a little too much, maybe hit that space crack pipe like she did. Fine, that's cool. But it doesn't seem like too much problem. She just was a little bit edgy, but then later throughout the series, we would see that she's addicted to stuff. So I don't like the way they handled that very well. I was very happy to see some EMHs, not even H's. There was a EMH, Emergency Medical Hologram, which is like a Roddy McDowell type character played by Santiago Cabrera, but he also had an EN H. He had an E inward H. Sorry for the pun. I had to do it. Emergency Navigational Hologram, which was new to me. You guys might have seen that before. That was new to me. And he was in classic 90s Star Trek style, an Irishman. Quintessential, person doing an Irish accent that's not actually Irish. Well, it was a real Irishman having an Irish accent in 90s Trek, but you know what I'm saying, right? That was a vape. She put space crack. She packed a crack bowl. She packed that bowl. Yeah, it was vape technology, but she straight up put that little space crack in there and had at it. I didn't like how Raffi was really sipping that wine like it was something crazy good, like, satisfying that craving, that addiction craving. Wine's not going to sip of wine's not going to do it. She's going to need something hardcore. She's going to need a whiskey, a rum, a Romulan ale, something hardcore. As a person who in my life is drinking too much too often, wine is just a juice box that eventually will catch up with you a little bit. She's going to need a lot more than a bottle if she's really has some substance abuse. Box Lightner at a Comic-Con at a distance, of course. You saw him? Nice. What's up, Mano-san? Oh, we didn't do greetings. We'll do a delayed greeting. There'll be more people here to say hello to anyway at this point. Participants: Alan Phillips, Birch Hansen, Brian Dawkins, who is a channel member, Captain Robert April, traveling from the future to visit us. What's up, Robert April? Corey Kennedy, Daria 108, David Bland, Dreamer out there, Dreamer out there. Herb Bluntman, I'm Darkfire 007. Joel Diaz, Johnny Hughes, Kalon Primary. What's going on, Kalon Primary? Hoping to do an interview with Kalon Primary very soon, you guys. Lights Shadow, Man of San. Matt Graham, Matthew H., Matthew Holvinsky, Frenio, Rachel Brinkley, Rich Connor, Rob Crawford, Sal Tacita, Stanlow Crickets 88, and one more 8. What's going on, everybody? And there's some other names I saw in the chat. YouTube doesn't always throw everyone's name up. There's the news. What's up, Kalon? Also, people can live to 200 in Trek, so Picard should be equivalent of a 40 or 50-year-old. They shouldn't be depicting him as old as he is. Yeah, he's in his 90s. He's coming off as someone in his 70s to me. Also, he's lived a much harder life than a lot of people. And as we know, people in our world today live to 70 to 80 pretty frequently, but we know lots of people that die in their 40s or 50s or age more or age less than other people. So I wouldn't generalize everybody as living that long. Now, of course, Vulcans are very long-lived, and Spock only lived to, what, 219, 220, something like that? I know that Bones lived to, what, 130? Synth tobacco. There is synth ale, after all. There's synthahol. I'm not sure if we've seen synthahol. No, I was thinking of a TNG episode. I don't know if anyone's drinking synthahol so far in this series. It looks like the real stuff to me. I want to know more about Hugh as well. He was a lot more interesting than I thought he was going to be, for sure. AJP, Disney forced the CEO off of Hulu. Now Disney owns Hulu. They want to do Hulu International. Yeah, I've known for a while that they've wanted to do, that Disney's plans are to bring Hulu worldwide. Makes sense. It's the next best thing to Netflix, but it's a very different service than Netflix. Netflix is more about old reruns of TV shows and some new stuff and a bunch of original content. Netflix is, and Hulu is more like next day television. You know, it aired last night on television type of stuff. So it makes sense they want to make it worldwide. Yeah, I didn't know about the CEO off a Hulu thing. Who did they touch without consent? That's the only reason I ever think of a CEO being kicked out, is they touched somebody they weren't supposed to touch. Who was it? Was it Mickey? Did Mickey do the touching, or was he the one touched? JP, this was easily the best episode so far. Picard is about Jean-Luc being broken. This series is about his road to redemption. And it's not even about his road to redemption, because he still seems to be Picard. He has lost his faith in himself a little bit. He's trying something new because he made a decision 14 years ago to leave what he loved because he was let down by Starfleet. Now, to me, but now I'm seeing that Starfleet has been there's somebody pulling the strings there. And also, I think Starfleet, along with the Romulans, because I do think the Federation and the Tal Shiar Romulans are working together, but not for the nefarious reasons that everyone believes. I think they have information about the future, and destroying all synths and keeping a hold on the synth situation is their attempt to try to prevent that thing from happening. And I think it does connect to all that AI or whatever. Perhaps Soji is the AI or the product of that AI. I'm also starting to think that maybe Soji wasn't built by Bruce Maddox. We're going to see Bruce Maddox, I'm pretty sure, in this series. I'm thinking maybe she wasn't built by Bruce Maddox, but perhaps she was built in the future by the bad people using Bruce Maddox's research. Might be another possibility. And they might catch up with Bruce Maddox, and Bruce Maddox like, what? It's just a theory. I haven't made it yet. And then that they've been sent back, these synths, to start, they're humans. They think they're human. Then all of a sudden they get activated, and boom, they start doing evil stuff. for the benefit of the evil future thing. We don't know what the case is. Sounds kind of ridiculous when I explain it, but that's every story, every movie, every sci-fi thing you love sounds stupid when somebody says it out loud, but when you see it all put together, it's like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Hopefully, it still makes a lot of sense. Stephen Klein.
Hobo clowns are the most dangerous because they're hungry.
They are. They're so hungry. Picard was being a jerk in this episode. WTF. Was he being a jerk? You talking about with Raffi when he was just like saying, she's like, I don't want to do it. And she's like, keep going. We'll talk to you later. Yeah, I don't think he was being a jerk, but let me know. Let me know what scenes. Maybe maybe it'll jog my memory. Don't touch anyone, Picard. They can track your quantum fingerprint. Stephen Klein Stephen Klein super chatted. Thank you, Stephen Klein. I wonder if Hugh's still concerned about his friend Geordi. Well, we're going to catch up with Geordi at some point. I don't know if it's going to be this season, but Geordi is alive. We learned that last season. I don't know if he was there during the attack on Mars or what. I would love it if Bruce Maddox turned out to be Lore. What happened to Lore? Now, some people are like, why aren't they mentioning Lore? And I'm like, well, because they've only had 3 episodes. They only had 3 episodes. You don't want to watch The Matrix and in 5 minutes in, it's like, why doesn't Neo know what The Matrix is? Because it's a story. It's got to unfold. But they should mention Lore at some point, right? Lore was deactivated by Data in what, 2369, I want to say. It was deactivated by Data, put in storage somewhere. I assume he's still in storage, or maybe he got, or somebody, someone stole him, put him back together. I don't know. Maybe they think he's in storage, but he's not. But of course, if he was in storage, they would be using him just like they used before, right? To learn stuff. So we need to find out what happened to Lore, and they need to bring him up. You can't just have B4 in there and not have Lore, especially since this whole show is about synths, right? And I really am happy, though, that the show is not doing the synth situation as like a civil rights parallel. We're past that. We're past that social commentary. We did that. We did that. We got newer problems now. So I like the newer issues. We should have gotten farther in the civil rights thing. But hey, we're getting there. We're working on it. I was thinking that the synths were going to be like a civil rights thing, but they're not. The synths, there's obviously parallels to like 9/11 and stuff like that, but the synths aren't like a Muslim parallel or anything like that. The synths are just the airports. There was 9/11 and all of a sudden we buckled down on the airports, and that's the only thing that's really stayed with us, really, is the airports still suck after that. It's not the airport's fault. The airports were just being airports. But in this case, instead of like just doing super high security at the airports, aka synths, we just got rid of the airports. So I'm kind of happy that they did something different than I thought they were going to do. Rob Crawford likes corn dogs. Kirk Douglas on the final countdown was excellent. Oh, Kirk Douglas. That's right. We lost Kirk Douglas. 103. Talk about long-lived. Toaster Lives Matter. Yeah, we didn't end up going with the Toaster Lives Matter. I thought they were going to go that way. But it turns out the synths are just dumb robots. Just dumb, creepy robots. Hey, Sean W.
My God, who makes these things? Okay, this is a hostile work environment.
Any news on Lex? Didn't you put that in your notes? It is in my notes, but I don't know when I'll be able to get to it. But I got it right there. I can see it on my desktop. But yeah, Lex, got to check that out. Mortimus Maximus JP, I like how you are so positive about Picard. Too many of the reviewers are calling it a failure. It's not a failure. Even if I didn't like it, it's not a failure. It's the biggest success for CBS so far. It got 10 million views. The first episode got 10 million views, but of course, that's just the first episode. That's very good for a first episode, but it's how many views is it going to be averaging overall. I think it's going to be a success, but just because you don't like something doesn't mean it's a failure. It just means you don't like it. I just don't think it's possible that it could be successful enough to keep All Access afloat. The show's too expensive. Not even Picard's not even too expensive. It's Discovery that's way too damn expensive. They've sunk so much money into their brand of Star Trek that they should have put it on the main network to start with, to get some advertisers in there. It's just too expensive to keep a streaming service with not a lot of content on it, original content, new content, only available content afloat. Doesn't matter if it's the best Star Trek ever. It's just one show, 10 episodes a year for 3 years. That's not going to do it. They're going to need every Star Trek to be good. And just because I like this Star Trek, I have no plans of thinking that their next Star Trek show is going to be any good at all. I think season 3 of Discovery is going to be better, but I'm not going to be in love with it at all. Also, I don't think, while I do like what they're doing with the Picard series as far as the type of storytelling and slowing down a little bit and stuff like that, it's I don't think this necessarily would have worked with a different, without Patrick Stewart and having that TNG connection and you know, some TNG characters coming back and having it be a study of Picard. If it wasn't that, if it was just a study of just some rando new character they came up with, I don't think people would have been receiving it so well, or being willing to receive what the show is. I think they would have written it off a lot sooner, or just not have been interested enough to check it out or to subscribe. So the next show isn't going to have, you know, Star Trek royalty in it, so I don't see how they're going to keep it afloat. Matthew Holovinsky.
I am told your people are known for creating some of the most sought-after pornographic simulations in the galaxy.
I like Picard a lot. The musical score is heavy-handed at times, though. The only times I notice the score of the episodes is when they throw out that TNG sting, right? It's like all of a sudden you get that da 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 da. I think this episode threw it out at least twice, which I think once is all you should do. You shouldn't throw it out too often. Maybe once, and not once every episode, once every couple episodes when it's appropriate. I think they had an appropriate time in this episode. I think it was when, you know, at the very end, when the ship warped off for the first time. That was a great moment to go da 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 da, but they did it earlier in the episode. I can't remember when. Not necessary at all. Did the Romulans and Vulcans ever reunify? Talking about unification, part 1 and 2 with Spock back in the TNG days. Part 1, In Search for Spock, and part 2, hey, there's Spock. Was that episode? I don't remember if they ever reunified. I'm guessing they didn't, not fully, or else that probably would have come up. They would have been doing better. They would have been the Romulans would have been less dickish back in Nemesis, perhaps. Also, what's up with Commodore O? I knew Commodore O was supposed to be. Everyone thinks she's a Vulcan, but right away I'm like, oh, she's Romulan pretending to be Vulcan. Or is she actually a Vulcan who's just an evil Vulcan that infiltrated Starfleet in the Federation? It could go either way. Really, either way, it's all Romulans to me. An evil Vulcan is just a Romulan, in my opinion. But also, she wore those shades. She was wearing sunglasses in the episode, which looked weird because she was in uniform, but also I'm like, oh yeah, in the future, people would totally still wear sunglasses on a sunny day, but Dr. Jumati was not wearing sunglasses. Why was Commodore O wearing sunglasses? Was she just trying to be inconspicuous, which just makes her more conspicuous? She just doesn't understand that because she's a dumb, evil Vulcan / Romulan. That's funny, but the scene didn't say that at all. So I would assume that it means something else. Does she have light sensitivity like Lorca did from the Mirror Universe? But of course, that should only affect Earthlings. Earthlings are the ones that evolved with a light sensitivity. I'm pretty sure the Vulcans and Romulans and stuff didn't have that light sensitivity. So that doesn't make any sense to me. Also, I hate the fact in Discovery, that whole stupid light sensitivity thing. I absolutely hated it, because if humanity evolved with the sensitivity to light, they would have evolved entirely differently and wouldn't be recognizable as humans as we know them. They wouldn't have just very close parallels. There wouldn't be a version of you, because back in the day, things stemmed off way differently with that whole evolution. So that was meh. So I don't know. The only explanation I would really accept is the fact that it was sunny and she didn't want the sun in her eyes. That makes the most sense to me. Yeah, I don't know if we have mirror crap. I'm hoping we don't have mirror crap. Though the mirror universe stuff was probably the best thing from season 1 of Discovery, because it's finally something different. Finally, a universe where the dark and grittiness belonged. We could have had the whole show be in the mirror universe. I think people would have liked the show a lot more. Except for Philippa, though. Philippa, bloop. I'm sorry, I know people like Philippa. I can't stand the character. No Vulcans or Romulans had the same physiology. Ears. Yeah, I get the Romulan vibe from Commodore O for sure. First off, her assistant was a fake human. That's Romulan, Narek's sister. By the way, is anyone getting Game of Thrones vibes from Narek and his sister? I'm definitely getting the Game of Thrones vibes from those two. She's Romulan. Commodore O is definitely part of the Vash, however you say, the secret Tal Shiar society thingy. She's definitely part of that, and that's a Romulan thing. But of course, it could go so deep. I'm thinking this goes way deeper than we think. So there could be people from different worlds that are part of the Vash. I can't pronounce it. I'm just going to call them the Super Tal Shiar, okay? Axonar Live, hail JP! Evil Romulan woman is from the Mirror Universe. Maybe she's Michelle Yeoh. No, she's Commodore O, not Commodore Yeoh. I hope she's not from the Mirror Universe. And if she is, what's with the light sensitivity? She's not human. Yeah, not into Philippa or Michael or Tilly. Now, here's the thing. Okay, I actually mentioned this in my review today, but I had to erase the whole thing. Once more, I'd planned on doing 3 pages, 9 or 10 minutes. I was hoping for 8 minutes. I'm trying to really get, brief, really sum up my thoughts. Brevity is something I have a hard time with, and you guys know this. So I ended up writing 6.5 pages, and I filmed probably 25 minutes, and I cut it all down to 10 minutes, which is what I do with most videos. I'm like, if I go really long, I try to cut it down as much as I can, but still get a lot of the points in there. So I cut it down. So one of the things, this is BTS, by the way. I talked about Dr. Jumati, played by Alison Pill. I'm really digging her. The first 2 episodes, she had a couple bad lines of dialogue in the first 2 episodes. This one, she was great. I actually dug the, hey, who are you, lady? Comment from her. She is what Tilly was supposed to be in Discovery. Tilly was supposed to be the relatable one, a little bit awkward, the one that the audience is seeing through her eyes. She's giving the audience point of view to the adventure. But the show writers, because the Discovery writers, I don't like the Discovery writers at all. Not personally, just their work and everything they believe in, that they put on paper. They dialed her awkwardness up to 11, and it was already way too high. Dr. Jumati has a little bit of that realness, a little bit of that awkwardness. She's more fun, but they dialed it all the way down to a 1. Which is the right amount. She's all the way down to 1, where she's green, but yes, she's brilliant. She's brilliant in her field, so she is qualified. But outside of the laboratory, she doesn't have a lot of experience. She doesn't know anything about going on a space adventure or anything like that. So I'm really digging her right now. Hopefully, they keep it that way for the next 7 episodes, and they don't do what they did with Tilly and just get worse and worse and doubling down on the characteristics that people respond to. If people are responding to the characteristics, Keep the characteristics. Don't keep multiplying upon the characteristics. That's bad writing. But that's a different show. We're talking about Star Trek Picard right now. Different writers. Different vision. BTS, are you going to sing some K-pop? No, I sing ego pop. By the way, I some of you, what's up, Curtis Tate? Curtis Tate is a channel member, official channel member. I'm scrolling by so fast. Krill, albinos with a skin problem, a tiny bit light sensitive. Yeah, the krill are a little bit light sensitive, and actually the new song, Orville song that I'm working on, which is I decided to go something modern with my next with my next Orville song parody. This one is Bad Guy by Billie Eilish, and I actually have a krill line in there, but it's called Lieutenant Dan Guy. Lieutenant Dan Guy. So it's about my love for the Orville. It's about the actual Orville, and it's about Lieutenant Dan, at least during the dance scenes. So we'll be getting that song out hopefully next week or so. Because I also I recorded the demo version of it, but I do have to record the real final version of it and then also make the video for it. Now the intro is a little bit, I got a lot of beat, just like the song has, because I'm going to be putting a bunch of stuff over it, sound effects and stuff over it, and visuals over it in the video, because I'm making the song for a video, not necessarily for audio. Stephen Klein, JP, I can explain why Admiral O is wearing sunglasses. That's because she's really a krill. Oh, wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that be amazing? She's actually Talia. Now, we're going to be seeing a lot more krill in Season 3 of the Orville. Season 3 of the Orville is going to be huge. Still don't have that premiere date yet. It's going to be sometime in the fall. I'm hoping for September. But we do have an October release was announced for The Mandalorian Season 2 is coming out in October. Now, of course, the next big show on Disney Plus is going to be the Falcon and the Bucky. I think it's the Falcon and the Bucky, right? That's going to be in August, but we'll be getting Mandalorian in October. So I'm pretty excited about that. Brian says, I like the Dan voice clips in your song. Thank you. I went through a bunch of episodes to find good enough voice clips of Dan. Oh, wow. I wasn't able to put Love is the fish hook that hooks the fish because there's music behind it in the episode. I'm like, oh, you can't have music behind a voice clip that's on top of another song. So I wasn't able to put that in there, unfortunately. Bill Keith, so why are these shows being made private? Are you talking about the live shows, Bill Keith? I went to download the last couple so I could listen to the audio on the weekend, and they are gone. Yes, I make all live shows private as soon as we are done because they kill channels. This live show will kill my channel if I keep it up. It makes all your numbers, and my numbers aren't even great right now at all, just not because I'm not getting views, but because it's that time of year. January, February, where I'm getting great views, but they're worth nothing. That's why this week I was going out and trying to do as much Uber stuff as I could to try to balance out a little bit. Live show, and you'll notice, go to other channels, Nerdrotic, a bunch of channels, but Nerdrotic's one of them, but at least 5 or 6 channels that I follow, all created secondary channels for live shows, and that's probably eventually what I'll be doing here. I do have that secondary YouTube channel that I don't use very much, but I don't want to start doing live shows over there yet because it's not monetized. I need to work at trying to get that channel monetized, but it's always so much work just to get this stuff done, especially since I'm doing some format changes right now with my videos. But yeah, that's why I make them all private, is because YouTube, for some reason, punishes channels for live shows. I don't know why. Stephen Klein, JP, if Seth MacFarlane and NBC bought Star Trek and Seth took a step back from the Orville, who would you want to replace him as captain? I'm I'm thinking it would only be right if Kelly became the captain, Bortus became the second, the XO, and then we have to get a new Bortus, a new lieutenant commander. I mean, you could replace Ed, but it would be Seth MacFarlane. But as far as like, military goes, I mean, Kelly is ready. I mean, they'd have to come up with a reason Kelly couldn't be captain, which they could do. She's gotten into a lot of trouble. She changed time. She made an entire planet worship her. She's got some stuff on her record that would say you're not ready to be a captain. We thought you were, but going over your record, it's not going to work. So who would replace him? Oh, there's names that I would throw out, but I just also don't want that. I wouldn't want Nathan. Nathan Fillion sounds like a great choice, but also I don't think that's going to work anymore. He was already a very famous captain. Who do you guys want? If Seth MacFarlane was replaced on the Orville, which I don't think he would be. I think he is going to take a step back from the Orville as far as all the producing and the writing and directing that he does with it. I'm hoping, and I've said this since the first season, I'm hoping that he'll become more of a consultant that still plays the role of Captain Mercer, which is totally doable, and I think he is interested in that. I think he wants to do more acting from what he said about his move to NBC. He's interested, or somebody said that when it came to the official news of him moving to NBC. I do think that he's interested in doing more acting, so the Orville would be part of that. So he'll still be a producer, but I have been hoping that he would take a step back so that, for one, let some other people in there so we could get maybe some more episodes written, stuff like that. That was my first concern. We got so few episodes. I was like, if he takes a step back and lets other people in to pick up some of the slack that he's doing all by himself, we'd be able to get more stuff done. And I think he's trained enough people. That work on the show to really, carry on what he started. Okay, somebody just mentioned right there, Mano-san, I wish Halston Sage would come back. I never liked Tala. Well, I got a couple things to say about that. First off, I love Alara, but I also love Tala. I actually like Tala as the security officer more than Alara, but I do miss Alara. But there's a rumor that just came out a few days ago that Halston Sage has been given a schedule from the Orville of when she's going to set to do a Alara cameo for an episode, at least one episode. So it really seems like Alara, we will be seeing her at least for one episode next season, in season 3. And I want to know from you guys, it was alluded to in The Road Not Taken, the season 2 finale, that in the alternate timeline, John and Alara had a thing. A tryst, if you will. And Alara was really mad at John. John's a dog, you guys. He's a player. So if Alara comes back, do you think there'll be a little bit of a spark that ignites between John and Alara? And if so, what does that mean for Ensign Turco? What? And Ensign Turco will be back on the market? Huh. I got to get on that show. Scott Bakula. We'll love Scott Bakula as a captain, but man, we can't. We couldn't. He's already a famous captain. Would love it, though. Captain Wheaton. Would love to see Will Wheaton on the Orville, you guys. Will Wheaton doing something. We don't need a big story from him. He can have a cameo just like Tim Russ's type of cameo where he just plays this little role really quickly. But it would be nice to see him. Yes, Dr. Finn called Tala. Well, I know she called Alara a washboard head in the episode Majority Rule in season 1. Racist. That's racist. William Shatner's captain. Okay, right there. It's Kevin Scott. That's what we want. Jalara! Will Wheaton for the win. Will Wheaton can suck rocks.
Shut up, Wesley.
Halston won't give up doing Prodigal Son. It's too hot right now. Yeah, she's not going to leave Prodigal Son. Prodigal Son is a family, a part of the Orville family, back when they were on Fox. She moved over. Halston moved over to Prodigal Son, another Fox show at the time. And DeRulio, Rob Lowe, moved over to another Fox show that just came out, 911 Lone Star. So I consider that another family, Orville family show. But yeah, she's not going to leave, but she could totally come on the Orville and do a cameo. Jake Krause.
Hey, there you go. See, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, you want a Yaphet sound clip? Oh man, hold on. And we got to talk about, we got some more Picard stuff, you guys, because I have a theory.
Hey man, I'm on your side. I always knew Isaac was a scumbag. Only had one thing on his mind, that guy. You're better off without him.
That's right. There you go, Jake. Somebody just said, yes, Anson Mount. Dario. That is who I want to be the captain of the Orville. And what a sweet burn. What a sweet burn on CBS to get Anson Mount to be the captain or any character on the Orville. That would be a sweet burn. If they're not going to use him, and as much as I loved him as Captain Pike, I hope they don't use him. Because, like I've said before, I do not want CBS to ever go back to that part of the timeline. They screwed up their chance to do it, and they can never fix it unless they have the balls to simply just do a time travel episode that fixes everything. Simple as that, CBS. Don't know why you won't do it. People love time travel episodes, right? But yes, Anson Mount. I actually, it's funny, but I would love that, actually. Yeah, go Norm. Go get Robert Picardo, who plays the Lars Doctor Father, to write an EMH program for Finn. That'd be great. Yeah, we don't even have. Oh yeah, we have we have the environmental simulator. We need to get. It would be nice to get a holographic character that pops up every once in a while. In the eSim, but one that is recurring would be pretty nice. John Delancey, I would love to get a cameo from him. One thing I'm thinking about with Picard is, okay, we go to the Borg cube, right? We got Ramda, who's the crazy ex-Borg, XB, as Hugh calls them, and she was calling Soji. She goes, I remember you. I recognize you from the Tomorrow. You're the destroyer of worlds. No. Well, when she said, I remember you from tomorrow, that means the future. She remembers her from the future. She's seen her in the future. And apparently I'm thinking Soji becomes that artificial intelligence, or a minion of that artificial intelligence, or maybe all the organic synths are products of that evil AI from the future, that they sent them back like Terminators to embed themselves into society and then take over, right? Now, I do not think that Ramda was in the future or came from the future. I think her ship, that was the last ship assimilated by that Borg cube that is now in Romulan hands, that ship had some sort of information from maybe that sphere, some of that sphere information in it, and the Borg assimilated it, and all of a sudden it had the truth that the Tal Shiar, Super Tal Shiar, really know about, the ancient Tal Shiar, they really know about it. This information, that ship had that information. They assimilated onto that cube. It was making the Borg go nuts. It was messing with everything, so that the Borg had to sever that cube from the collective instantly, or else be infected by it. And I think that information that was on that ship that they simulated has to do with some of that future AI stuff. So when she said, I saw you in the Tomorrow, she wasn't, she didn't travel into the future at any point. What it was is she had the memories in her Borg mind that were uploaded in there because they're a collective, and her brain, her human brain, was just translating it into a memory. But really it's just she had the information from the future, and they were disconnected. So I'm thinking this all connects to that AI, that evil AI, or it might even be more involved in that. I hope it's more involved in that. Just because Michael Burnham and her peeps called it evil AI doesn't mean there wasn't way more to it than that. And but I don't think it's from the same timeline. It just could be that evil AI from a different part of its timeline that's like, oh, we failed in this timeline, so let's get a different part of us to go back and try again in the Picard timeline. So if they connect it, and they do it well, it's going to be great. But we don't know if they're going to connect this and do it well or not. We're going to have to wait and see. It's a little worrying, but I do think Soji is the bad guy. She just doesn't know it yet, and we're going to try to stop her from becoming the bad guy. And I think the evil Romulans are actually trying to do the right thing, just in a dumb Romulan way, and they probably convinced the Federation to do it the dumb Romulan way, because this information goes beyond empires and federations. Hopefully. That's the smart way to do it. But we don't know if they're going to do it the dumb way. Captain Turco, boom, right there. I'm Darkfire. My question is, will Bruce Maddox be played by the same actor? That guy was easy to hate. Make a good back. He had a punchable face, Bruce Maddox, didn't he? Just incredibly punchable face. But he was a good guy at the end of that episode, and him and Data became friends. Apparently he's at some place called... Oh, I forgot to mention this in my review. That's fine. There's too many things to mention. They're going to some place called Free Cloud. Don't know what Free Cloud is, but I'm pretty sure it's a place full of debauchery. And that's why Raffi wants to go there. She probably wants to go there to have like a Leaving Las Vegas type of going out of business sale. She wants to just get drunk. I don't know, get BJ's from... I don't know what Raffi is. I don't know what she does. Okay, so she's going to drugs, drink, fun, go out in a blaze of glory at Free Cloud. I assume that's what Free Cloud is. Bruce Maddox is there because I'm guessing Free Cloud, you can get to you could do some illegal stuff there. It's like international waters type of thing. There's no laws. So Bruce Maddox probably went there to do his illegal research. I'm hoping we'll find out. I doubt we find out in the next episode, but I'm sure we'll find out 3 or 4 episodes from now. Brian Hughes!
Really? This is my job? How did I win at life? But I did. I won. Yeah.
I won. Great show tonight. Happy Arbor Day. Is it Arbor Day? Every day is Arbor Day, if you believe. Why would they celebrate Arbor Day in February? Damn you, Captain Mercer. Thank you, Brian. Thank you very much. Just a quick reminder. Okay, so I started doing this thing where on Fridays we're continuing the conversations on that we're having here. We're continuing them on Twitch on Fridays. Can't do it tomorrow because I'm going to be hitting the road I'm going to go on a road trip to Neosho, Missouri to attend ArtCon. I'm a guest at ArtCon, which is on Saturday in Neosho from 11 to 6. Their Facebook page is right down there to get the information if you're interested in checking it out. I'm going to be there doing a panel discussion about starting a YouTube channel versus starting a podcast. I'm also going to be hosting the Corin Nemec panel. I'm going to be chatting with Corin Nemec, taking questions from the audience, doing high fives, stuff like that. With Corin Nemec, so we're going to have a great sci-fi conversation and see what Corin's up to. Also, and I don't think I'm going to bring this up during the panel, Corin Nemec did audition for a role in Season 3 of the Orville. No clue if he got it or not. If he did, I'm sure it's a secret. So I'm not going to ask him, but maybe it'll come up naturally. Maybe he'll mention something. Maybe he'll make a slip, whether he got it or not. And if he makes that slip, ooh, Corin, I'm going to let everybody know what you said. Feel better, Val. Where you at, Val? A lot of people in the chat. Eccleston Angel in the house. Yeah, apparently the F word is still a thing in the 24th century. Yeah, in the last episode, when Picard goes to talk to the CDC or CNC of Starfleet, I can't remember what the initials are. Mean lady that doesn't like Picard. She says the F word, hubris. I like the sentiment because she's angry at Picard. A lot of Starfleet's angry at Picard for when he left. She's probably one of those people that isn't in on the conspiracy that's going on. She's not high enough level. I think when Picard offered his resignation, if they didn't continue the rescue efforts, that was the best possible thing that that they could have hoped for as far as the the bad Starfleet, which we don't even know if they're bad. They just might be working with information we don't have, which I think might be the case. I think that was the best thing, because their whole job was trying to figure out how to stop Picard from continuing on, and he just made it easy for them. He said, I'm out of here, and they said, fine. And because Raffi was also really passionate about saving the Romulans, and she was right there with Picard the whole time, they fired her because of her association with Picard, because they figured she'd be a problem as well, and they had a good reason to fire her, even though it was their bad guy reason, right? So while I appreciate the sentiment from that lady, I love cuss words. I just love them so much, you guys. I just don't like it in Star Trek. I love it on Sesame Street. Love it on the Smurfs. Anything like that. But I just don't like it in Star Trek. Plus, it's just smarter to use other types of words. But I get it. Oh, it's the realism. It's the CBS one. Oh, we need people to watch our show on our streaming service. That isn't going to bring people in CBS. Could have used a real big, go into the thesaurus and pick a really smart word and use that word instead. I don't mind dropping a shit bomb every once in a while in Star Trek. Data popularized that. Actually, no, they even did that in original series films as well. They're trying to be like Battlestar Galactica with Frack. I would have preferred Frack. Frack was smart. That was clever. That was getting around the censors using futuristic talk, right? Or no, way back in the day, a galaxy long ago, far, far away talk. Spoiler alert. That was clever. It wasn't clever in this episode. Profanity was supposed to be a thing of the past in Star Trek lore. Yeah, I don't quite get that either. Certain things I just don't. I'm like, yeah, right. People are still going to be people. But it's probably a lot less common. I'm absolutely sure it's less common. But also, what's profanity? What is profanity? Is the F word an F word in the future? Do they even consider it a bad word in the future? Why is my badge different? What was that from? Geolaw, what was that from? I remember that line from something. Love it on Sesame Street. What about this rumor that Amazon wanted the episode count to be cut, thus forcing them to drop a lot of scenes to compress it all? I don't know about that. I mean, the season is already short and the episodes aren't very long. The episodes are only like 43, 45 minutes. Most Amazon shows are a full 60 minutes. So I'm not sure. I don't know why they would want it to be cut at all. It's already not that much. Yes, according to the rumor, Seth does not want the bad robot stuff. Because he probably just not interested in that style. I don't have a problem with Bad Robot. I'm not necessarily some of their Star Trek. The reason I'm able to be okay with most of the Bad Robot Star Trek is because it's not Star Trek in the Star Trek universe. It's a whole other universe, so they can do what they want in that other universe as far as I'm concerned. So I just judge them on the quality of the film. I liked 2009. Took a little getting used to because it was the first, whoa, what the hell is this type Star Trek? Ended up liking it in the long run. Still cannot stand Into Darkness, and I really liked Beyond right off the bat. It was just a fun what if season 4 adventure of the original series if they had a season 4. They won't have a season 5 though, will they? But yeah, he doesn't want that bad robot stuff, and I don't see why he would want that. That's not what he's going for. He wants to do legit Star Trek. And also, I am convinced, you guys, I did a video about this back when Discovery was airing. People seem to be on board with this. There is no way that Discovery takes place in the same timeline, in the same universe as, all the, the previous Star Trek series. There's no way.